सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। We are in the first chapter, second segment. We have seen till the fourth mantra. Duramete viparite vishuchi vidya cha avidya cha vidya jnata iti vidya bhipsinam nachiketa sammanye natvam kama bahavo lolupanta. Nachiketa, you are someone who has been now tested by me, and you are alolupanta. Alolupanta, someone who has not been able to be shaken up by my tests. It was pretty intense tests, the way he put him through. There are some orthodox people who think that the present mantras are also a different kind of test, because it's been a while that he has asked a question, and Dharmaraja here has not yet started speaking about what the question really asked. So some people think that this is also a kind of test. We will know it by the 13th mantra, whether it was a test or not. But in the 5th mantra, as we continue, the path of avidya, how does it affect us? And what do people in the path of avidya think? What is their modus operandi? So that is given here. Repeat after me. Avidyayamantare vartamanaha स्वयं धीराः पंडितं मन्यमानाः दन्द्रं यमाणाः परियन्ति मूढाः अन्धेनैव नीयमाना यथान्धाः। This mantra is so famous that it is almost used as a proverb. Andhenaiva niyamana yatha andhaha. Avidyayam antare vartamanaha. Those who are in the field of avidya. And this strength or weakness of avidya is that it makes you instantly boastful. See, that which has value and worth need not claim itself about its value and worth, but that which does not have the real stuff in it has to present itself, so has to drum up a little propaganda for itself. So avidya does that. In other words, the pots which are full makes no noise, but the pots which are half full always make sounds. That is the kind of boastfulness of avidya. So what do? Swayam dhiraha panditam manyamanaha. They appoint themselves as dhira and pandita. They give title to themselves and also give title to others. 3-4 years ago, I received a letter from Colorado. Some university, it is nowhere to be found on the website, some university sends me an, for the yeoman service that you have been doing, we have chosen you for the Year of the Man award. For further information, contact. I just put it aside. Within next 2 weeks, I got 6-7 letters that we have to start communicating, we have to start relating to each other. It's a big event coming up. So I gave it to our president. I said, I don't make sense of this, whatever this is. Can you find out? So he asked one of his secretaries or someone to find out. And it is like you pay up front. And that was like $10,000. And they will organize an event so that you will be recognized as the Man of the Year, Man of Achievement. Achieving what? So they claim themselves as Pandita and also give that title liberally to anybody who can come. In places like Kashi, Haridwar, Rishikesh, where there is a strict orthodox belt of the sannyas ashrama, there to be qualified as a Jagat Guru, you have to go through various strict tests about Vyakarana, Sanskritam, then there is the 6 schools of philosophy, various classifications of tests. And once you pass through those, then you will be recognized as Jagat Guru. It's a literary feat. And not everybody can use that title as Jagat Guru. So this happened in this person in, I think, Uttar Kashi, had this big billboard of his ashram. Shri 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 1008. What does Shri 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 1008 mean? Shri 1008 times. So I don't have space to write that much. If you have the patience, you can count it till 1008. That many Shri, that great. Jagat Guru, such and such Ananda. So people took him to task. They said, how dare you call yourself as Jagat Guru? Have you gone through that test? You have not been tested, how can you call? I said, wait a second. He called his Shishya. They said, ask him what is his name. My name is Jagat and I am his Guru. The reason that I am giving a sannyas ashrama a funny side is those who have been initiated into sannyasa to give up all these things so that they take the path of vidya are still stuck with name and fame. As to what are your credentials, what are your credibilities, how are you called, how are you recognized? Now what to talk of the rest of them? Swayam dhiraha panditam manyamanaha. They are self-proclaiming themselves to be dhira. And if something really you end up having an experience in life which really tests that patience, that patient instantly turns to become tolerance. Now, what is the difference between patience and tolerance? Patience is an unending virtue. Tolerance when it is at the brim, about to break. but they call themselves as Dhira. And many of us have heard these dialogues. It is me, so I am being so patient and lenient with you. Otherwise, you don't need to, promote yourself. Dhiraha panditam manyamanaha. See, Bhagavan Krishna also in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, when he starts, he tells Arjuna that in the first chapter you spoke as if you were wise. There is a rich note of sarcasm in Lord Krishna's words. When somebody says, you look like wise, it means you are actually otherwise. That's what it intends. Panditam manyamanaha. Dandramyamanaha pariyanti mudhaha. Those processes which are supposed to lead us through Vidya to that ultimate goal, they make a convenient business out of it. They make their own crooked ways of living out of these processes. These processes are not meant for making a living out of it. But we see it being propagated as business modules. So much so that it was very painful to see this. That there are a couple of ashrams that I have seen which advertise coming Shivaratri, sannyasa program. So they have brochures as to what is it that is required of you to take sannyas. So they will give you official sannyas with a certificate that you are hence therefore declared as such and such Swami. That is not supposed to become a business wherein you end up paying a certain amount. That is one of the first criteria. Yoga, meditation, you name it. It shouldn't become that. And that is the reason when Gurudev said giving knowledge, he said we will take only Guru Dakshina but no fees. And I remember once I think it was in Tirupati, the TTD, Tirupati Devasthana committee, they invited Gurudev for talks and they had an elaborate arrangement for at least 30,000 people at least. But they said our policy is that whichever speaker we invite, we take the entire cost and we give them a check at the end. You don't collect anything from the public. So this was told to him like 10 days before the event. So he called up Hyderabad Chinmaya Mission and then he said, can you go arrange? And that was when we were still in Yuva Kendra. So we had gone there and arranged for the Yagna, and his point was very clear. Knowledge cannot be sold, or else the teachers become the puppet of the taught, because they are now a commodity with the price tag. Dandram yamanaha pariyanti mudaha. There are many crooked ways that these people develop, and there are enough gullible people who suck up to these things. And then he says, it is like andhenaiva niyamana yatha andhaha. If there is a busy intersection and there is a blind man who offers help to lead the rest of us, what will happen? It is a quick recipe for big disaster. Andhenaiva niyamana yatha andhaha. But then, O Nachiketa, how are you? Na samparaya pratibhati balam. Na samparaya pratibhati balam. Pramadyantam vitta mohena moodham. Ayam loko nasti para iti mani. Punah punah vashamapadyate me. Okay, this mantra is also not about Nachiketa. It is about the path of avidya. One thing that he states very beautifully, he says, they think that the world that they create, world of securities, yoga and kshema, we had seen that yesterday, the world of securities that they create, they think that there is no better world than this. And the moment they get limited, they limit themselves in this worldly things, what happens to them? Punaha punaha vasham apadyate me. They give control of their lives again and again unto me. Now, who is the teacher here? Who is the speaker here? Lord of death. So, he says that they volunteer to give this opportunity to me to take them into the cycle of birth and death again and again, because of their ignorant, childish, not childlike, childish behavior, pratibhati bhalam, pramadyantaha vitta mohena moodham. Vitta moha, even in Ishavasya Upanishad also, right in the first mantra, the second mantra, it says that do not covet for anybody's wealth. Vitta moha, because through money we can buy lot of comforts and amenities. Where is the balance to say, or when is the time to say that so much is enough? This is enough, beyond this no more. Once we get into that cycle, it becomes very difficult to pull out of it. Now remember, this Upanishad is not being given to somebody who is still in the transition phases of tamasic and rajasic states, but is being given to a well matured person who has been established in the sattvic dharma. When this medicine is given to somebody who is still in their tamasic and rajasic modes, it will backfire. It is at that time to instigate a person in tamasic level to show them something like a carrot dangling into their lives, various benefits. I think the marketing strategy in this country, they do a good job. So when you go in for the training program, you are taken to a good 5-star hotel, a nice environment. So that's why most of these training and conferences happen in that city where what happens is not shared with anybody. Am I right? That is where most of the conferences and trainings are organized. So an elaborate training and you are shown all the perks and then given an extreme overload, because you have already been introduced to a certain taste of how they will treat you. And once you are introduced to that treatment, now that is the carrot dangling. You want something higher than that, better than that, a better league, next level. then you have to compete with this finishing of this overload and then reach up to our marks, then we will treat you with the next best. So it is to whip that tamasic mind. These tricks are fine. To a rajasic mind, earn more, spend more, give more, whether it is in charity, whether it is in help, whether it is in reaching out, being a patron of various things, give more. And if you have to give more, you have to earn more, so earn more. Even Adi Shankaracharya in Bhaja Govindam, what does he say? He says, Yavat vitto parjana saktaha, as long as you can earn that money, earn so much that you are able to give in plenty. Nandati nandati. Enjoy your life. That is for a rajasic mind. Here when it is being said, it is to that prepared mindset which has come, evolved to a status of perfecting itself through sattvic nature and still hanging on to these loose ends of materialistic world will hurt moving forward. And he says that punaha punaha, these people come back to this terminating process of birth and death. And then he says in the 7th mantra, Shravanayapi bahubhiryo na labhyaha, yapi bahubhiryo na labhyaha, shrunvantopi bahavo yam na vidyuhu, आश्चर्यो वक्ता कुशलोस्य लब्धा, आश्चर्यो ज्ञाता कुशलानुशिष्टः. So that supreme self, Shravanayapi bahubhir yona labhyaha, meaning that to even hear of which is very rare. See, what is the usual topic that comes about when you are gathering around friends, family and various other such gatherings? Do you ever start talking about, the self within, the contentment? Even in those environments wherein you are inviting everybody not for a party but for a puja, both start with a P. But then you immediately see that the one or two of them from that family are doing the puja, rest of them are now into groups. There is one segment women group, the other segment men's group. Somewhere in the backyard is a children's group. So you have three groups segregated. What are the men busy talking about? Okay, stocks, real estate, politics, gadgets, cars. This is their field. Somewhere around near this is in the living area. Somewhere around the kitchen area, you will find all the women. So that is where you will have the saris, color patterns, jewelries, houses, achievements of kids, bragging about them. These are all the various topics. You never hear such topic in any gathering. And very few have the opportunity to hear such beautiful, sublime thoughts. Then, of the many that have the opportunity to hear, very few have the knack, the ability, the subtlety of the intellect to exactly understand what the scriptures mean. In Houston, one of the camps that I had attended, Guruji's talks were happening. These two ladies were seriously writing all the jokes. So, one after the joke that he was saying, they distributed alternate jokes that they will write and compile. So, I could see that I was sitting in the last bench, I could see them do it. So, after the lecture concluded, I asked them, shouldn't you be noting down the Vedantic points rather than the jokes? So, they were very pragmatic in their approach, very down to earth pragmatic. They said, Vedanta, you all repeat it anyway, it is the same. It is the jokes that are different, that are unique, that are not repeated often. Hence, therefore, we are focusing on that which is unique. The rest of the Vedanta that was given is down the drain. Sometimes when we are not prepared for it, we keep hearing it because our ears are open, but Shravana doesn't happen. A sincere effort to listen to the context and the meaning which is between the words, that doesn't filter within. It's just the sound of the words reaches. The meaning is lost somewhere in between. And then he says, Ascharyo vakta kushalosya labdha, ascharyo jnata kushala anusishtaha. It's really a wonder if we find that person who is teaching that which he has or she has experienced in their life, meaning the experience with the self within. That is what many masters like Ramana Maharshi and others, they say that unless you have been touched with that experience, whatever else that you speak as a word remains as just a burden of a word. It does not penetrate that intellect to direct us to that core within. To find one such, we need to have extreme blessings. Durlabham trayame vaitat. These three are the rarest of the rare combinations when you find these three happening in our life. Manushyatvam, not just being born as a human being, but living like a human being without any animosity of whatever shade or shape or size. Manushyatvam. Mumukshutvam, having intense desire for liberating ourselves from the shackles of ignorance. Mumukshutvam. And then the third one, Mahapurusha Samshrayaha. Getting in connection with that person who can show us the path. And for us, we are lucky to be under the umbrella of Puja Gurudev. He has paved the path for us, we just have to walk it. He has shown the path. Very, very rare when we find. And as a teacher, Yama also adds another sentence there, another rarity. To find a genuine student who is really interested in that which the scriptures are pointing at. Even when you look at the music teachers or dance teachers or back in India, even the PhD professors who have to help at PhD, those who are the students and the disciples, they end up doing only the chores. nothing much accomplished, but just ending up doing the different chores and not catching the purpose for which we are there with that guru. Similarly, a guru is really excited when there is a sincere student. He says that is the rarest of them all. The scriptures may be ready, the guru may be ready, the right moment may be waiting for us, but that right Shishya to walk in, it's the rarest of the rare. And thus, having said, he says, how should this knowledge be given, or how can we understand this knowledge when there is a fit student standing? It is said in the 8th mantra. It's a very bold statement that the mantra is making. It says, Nanarena varena proktayesha, Nanarena varena proktayesha, Suvigneyo bahudha chintyamanaha. Ananya prokte gatiratra nasti, Aniyan hyatarkyam anupramanat. Somewhere in one of his commentaries, Gurudev says that Na narena avarena proktayesha suvigneyo bahudha chintyamanaha. When this knowledge is taught by somebody who is not experienced the self within, what happens to the students? Andhenaiva niyamana yatha andhaha. If you yourself have not experienced it, when you end up teaching it, what will you teach about it? If you don't have that experience, if you don't have that proximity of experience, that which you cannot teach through words, and you personally do not have the experience, where are you leading the rest of them? Will they have that experience? It is a certainty that that kind of an inferior intellect can lead a bunch of sincere seekers. But instead, Ananya prokte gatiratra nasti, Ananya prokte, by the one who has seen the ananyatva, the oneness of the self with Supreme, meaning the one who has touched that experience within, one who has become one with the core of the being. When such person speaks, Gatihi atra nasti. This negation here doesn't mean that there is no other way. It means that it sure is the path, there is no other way. That is the path. They will take you absolutely to that Supreme, because that Supreme is Aniyan. Aniyan, subtler than the subtlest, cannot be grasped through words, hence therefore atarkyam. You cannot argue about it. You can only point towards it, but cannot argue about it. Imagine the difficulty wherein the means that we have in the world of communication are nothing but words. And these words themselves have limitation. It can only shoot towards a certain direction that it can point, beyond which even the words fail to carry us forward. All the logic that can be presented is to satiate the intellect so that it does not have the itch of questions any further. Beyond which even the intellect fails to comprehend. Subtlest of the comprehension equipment that we have, when even that fails, what is left is when that intellect quietens, in that quietude within, the pointers given direct us to glide, and that is an experience without an experience. And that is an experience like no other experience. Why? Because the rest of the world, the experience is, there is an experienced world, there is an experiencer, and the interaction called the experience. But here, the experiencer, the experienced, and the experiencing, all is one material alone. And that in the Puranic style is very beautifully shown by the little Krishna sleeping or lying on the peepal leaf. It is often known as the Vatapatra Sai, the one who is sleeping on the Vatapatra. The unique is that expression that Krishna is always sucking on his own right toe. That's a beautifully carved, etched, meditative form. There he is sucking on his own toe. The experiencer, the experienced, and the experience is all nothing but Krishnamaya. There is nothing other than that to be experienced. And when can we enter that realm? And that is why most of the Upanishads came, that cannot be called even an experience. Even to call it an experience would be a shame. So many people say the experience with a capital E. They are words. Words can only point so much. But we need that instructor who has personally experienced it and can guide us step by step towards that supreme, with the knowledge, with the thoroughness of their own experience. Ananya prokte gatiratra nasti. And all this said to reach where he is trying to reach to Nachiketa. He says, Naisha tarkena matirapaneya प्रोक्तान्येनैव सुज्ञानाय प्रेष्ठ यां त्वमापसत्यधृतिर्बतासि त्वादृङ्नो भूयान्नचिकेतः पृष्ट Naisha tarkena matirapaneya. With logic, with reasoning, with argumentation, this knowledge cannot be attained. See, one after the other you keep putting logic. It, it doesn't work, it only takes us so far. It is like to enter this sanctum of the hall. When you started from your house, you had a vehicle. Till where did that vehicle bring you? To the parking lot. After that, your feet covered with the shoes brought you to a certain extent. Then the shoes get dropped. Once you enter into this realm here, that which has brought you in here is no more required. It can only take you to a certain extent. And all logic is to satiate the hunger of the intellect with different questions that he has. When we reach to that purest state of the intellect, which is not disturbed by even a single thought. Thought meaning here a single query or a question or a doubt. Such subtle, prepared, pure intellect dives or glides into meditation, into being one with the true nature which is within. Until then, various stages of preparations at the level of body, at the level of mind, at the level of intellect, at the level of interactions with body, mind and intellect, constantly to tune these body, mind and intellect equipments to finally get that detached existence through the body, mind and intellect. When we acquire that mature state, that prepared intellect, when it sits on the seat of meditation, it has gathered enough purity and momentum, does not require that kind of effort or push. Just by sitting on the seat of meditation, that intellect dives, glides directly into the core of their essential reality. Right here. Prokta anyenaiva sugnyaya preshta. So until then, until that prepared existence comes into, prepared intellect comes into picture, it seems a lot of effort. But to understand that experience and to finally experience it, it is not that difficult a stage. I don't know if you have ever gotten this experience of the old camera system, wherein they would stand behind the wooden box with a black cover, and so much preparation required. Some of the museums have them still, and you can see them in work. I had seen this way back in Bangalore once. So you have the lighting arrangements, then the seating arrangement, then when everything is done, you arrange, then you go inside, there is a black layer so that there is filtered, the light is filtered, and then you click, the impression is formed on the negative. Then you take that, further develop it and bring out a positive out of it. So much of processing, so much of preparation. Similarly, when we sit on the seat of meditation, what is meditation? Because Gurudev sums it up very beautifully in a simple sentence. He says, it is not a verb, it is a noun, it is a state of being, not a state of doing. I am in meditation. There is nobody left there to be meditating. And you have to reach to that state. And here, Lord Dharmaraja here, he says, Yatvam apaha satya dhritir batasi. You who have come to this stage are already prepared for it. Tvadrang no bhuyan nachiketah prashta. And here, as a teacher, as a representative of all the teachers in the time, Lord Yama says, may we teachers always be blessed by students like you. Imagine how great this Nachiketa must have gone there with prepared mind. And that all tests that Lord Yama had to put him through, he was unaffected by it. As I said, this also is a kind of a test right now. And now that Dharmaraja seems to be fired up, inspired, looking at a genuine student in front of him, seeker in front of him, there is no stopping him. He goes into the heights of praising his student. So what does he do? So he says in the next mantra, next couple of mantras actually, Janamnyaham shevadhiritya nityam na hyadhruvai prapyate hidhruvam tat tato maya nachiketaschitognihi anityai dravyai praptavan asmi nityam. He says, at your age, O Nachiketa, when I had the opportunity, I spent my time doing that Swargyalokam Agni, which I taught you and which is now known as Nachiketa Agni. I spent my time dedicating it to that Nachiketa Agni only. And with the perishable goods, the highest permanency that can be gained, that I have gained, only to understand that now I am stuck there. What a confession of the Guru, that he is also very straightforward. He says, when I started this path, at your age, I did start this. But I took this Nachiketa Agni to be such a serious process. I could have just used it to purify myself, leave it and move forward. But I took it seriously in such a way that it has given me a state of this permanency. In the highest state of permanency that this perishable material world can ever gather and give. There are 2-3 beautiful pointers which are made here. One, when we have the opportunity that there is somebody standing next to us, guiding us to take us the right path, don't miss the opportunity. And that is what he is trying to cry here. He says, I missed my opportunity then. Though now I have the experience of that self. But because of that prarabdha, because of that effort that I have put, which is the cause, being in this position of yama is something which is unavoidable. So there is this concept that comes through our Vedic literature, that whether it is Indra, Yama, Varuna, Agni, these various natural forces which have been given the title of God, they are sometimes even called as the demigod status. They are all like positions. With the amount of punya that we do, we can acquire that position. And that is why Indra is constantly under fear. What is his fear? Anybody who has performed 99 Rajasuya Yagas or Ashwamedha Yagas, he is constantly trembling. Why? One more and he will be another opposing force for me for my post. So he goes, make sure that that horse is gone missing, or some process in the Rajasuya Yagna goes haywire, that it doesn't get completed. I think in the past there is one king who does an amazing thing, that even Indra is surprised that he comes down to bow to him. Raja Dileepa. He does his 100 Ashwamedha Yagas, and as soon as he has finished the 100th one, all the punya that he had acquired through the 100 yagas, he immediately distributes them and gives it away. Then I am done with it. Indra is shocked. You acquired so much of punya to just give it away in dana? You must be really great. So Indra is a position, Varuna is a position, and with different acquired punya, you reach to that level. You reach to that status. Oh Nachiketa, I did not understand. I did not have that keen intellect which you possess today at your age when I started it. And because of that, Nachiketa Agni, the highest possible eternal thing that can be given. See, all the material that we use is perishable, and the result thereof is also perishable. But among the perishable results, that which has the highest longevity, sustained nature, is to reach to this Brahmaloka, where you are one of the agencies, head of the departments. And now I am stuck here. On one side is life, the other side is death. I am the Lord of both worlds. I did not have that clarity. Re-emphasizing that very statement or sentiment, in the 11th mantra he says, Kamasyaptim jagatah pratishtham kratoranantyam abhayasya param pranantyam abhayasya param stomam mahadurugayam pratishtham drushtva mahadurugayam pratishtham drushtva dhrityadhiro nachiketotyasrakshi. He says, O Nachiketa, you have not just rejected all my tests, but you have done them with such firm conviction and understanding. And remember his shloka, Shvobhava martyasya dantagaitat sarvendriyanam jarayanti tejaha api sarvam jeevitam alpameva. And then finally he says, Tava iva vahas, tava nritya gite, keep all these damsels and various chariots that you are enticing me with yourself. And he also says, if you think that you cannot give me the third boon, it may well be true that you don't need to give me. Keep it with you. What do you call it? Rain check. You don't need to entice me with these things, because I know the true reality of these things. Kamasya aptim jagatah pratishtham kratoho anantyam abhayasya param. Of these various things that people are indulging in, desires, the various foundations that people are stuck with in this worldliness, the various penances that they perform so that they don't enjoy their life here, but end up enjoying up there. Now they'll do all kinds of vrata, fasting and everything, going through lots of severe penance here. Why? So that they can go up there, either this world enjoyment or that world enjoyment. When I tried enticing you with either, Nachiketa, you are praiseworthy because you did not fall prey to any one of these and rejected them all with firm clarity. See, when we reject them and not have that firm clarity, what happens? There is a deep sense of repenting feeling. Wish I had not rejected. Wish I had enjoyed it at least once. I had the opportunity, but now I missed it. And that will keep killing us, bugging us from within. But here Nachiketa's resolution was so beautiful. He said, these are the 6 reasons for which I say what you have given me, I am not interested. I don't care for them. A very beautiful logic that he had. So to such Nachiketa, who is excelled in his Vairagya, here our Dharmaraja, he is introducing him to what the various scriptures talk about, that which he has asked. So in the 12th mantra he says, Tam durdarsham gudhamanupravishtham guhahitam gahvareshtam puranam adhyatma yogadhigamena devam matva dhiro harsha shokau jahati. Tam durdarsham gudham anupravishtam. The wise men, those who have gone beyond the harsha shoka, for the pairs of opposites, they reach to that core of their being through a process called Adhyatma Yoga. It's a very beautiful, very powerful word used by Dharmaraja here. And Gurudev mentions it quite a number of times here, saying that yoga is first time used in the Vedic literature, here in this mantra. Until then, the word yoga does not have that kind of significance that we carry today. It is the first time used here. Adhyatma Yoga. What does Adhyatma Yoga mean? The process which is used through the body, mind and intellect, so that I can unite myself with the core or the essence of my own existence or the existential reality. And let me repeat that sentence again. The processes invoked through the body, mind and intellect to yoke, to unite ourselves, to become one with the essential reality within is called Adhyatma Yoga. One meaning of it. The second meaning of it, after we have prepared ourselves through the body, mind and intellect to withdraw from the outside world so that we are ready to connect with within, that moment of connection is called Adhyatma Yoga. So, it could also mean that it is the meditation, the dhyana of that supreme within. And how is that supreme? Guhahitam gahvareshtam puranam. It is the most ancient one and can only be achieved, can only be ascertained by this Adhyatma Yoga. Adhi Atma Yoga, the third meaning. When in the quietude within, I firmly abide, Adhi, firmly abide in the true nature of the self, Atma, Yoga, as being one with it. Presently, even when we sit down to do various puja, japa, tapa, whatever we do, what is the identity with which we sit to do the, even now when we are sitting here, when we are hearing this, what is the identity with which we are sitting here to listen? As an entity who is still limited with the body, mind and intellect. But that Adhyatma Yoga which is being indicated is that that individual has relinquished all the misidentifications and now here is sitting in that quietude to be completely soaked, completely absorbed in the true nature of the self alone. No more attributes of body or mind or intellect are being carried away by them. Understand them to be their attributes, but not be contaminated with their attributes or modifications. Matva dhiraha harsha shokau jahati. That final moment of culmination, wherein there is no contamination of any of the layers of the personality so far, has been completely ripped out. There is no more layers covering. Naked standing in front of that blazing truth to finally merge with it. That should be the intensity of a meditator meditating on meditation. I have earlier just said that it is not a verb. To be absorbed, soaked and firmly abide in one's own nature, there is not much of an effort required. The effort has to stop. But what happens whenever we stop putting effort? The entire system of personality knows only another platform wherein, another functional platform wherein there is no movement, and that is called deep sleep. Between the swinging moods of the agitated mind and the quietude of mind, there is that phase wherein we are trying to abide ourselves in. That is called being in meditation, wherein the mind, intellect are alert. Yet there is not even a trickle or a ripple of thought that would be shaking through the system. It is that quiet. In that quietude, absorbed in that quietude as that silence, basking in that illumination that I am this. This is the start. I am this is the start. There is no more this. I am. Then in the final stages, even the I drops. What remains is the amness. I don't want to corrupt it by saying that it is a present moment, because with the limited instruments that we have, we cannot ascertain a present moment. We are disqualified to ascertain a present moment, because by the time that you see that this is this present moment, understand it, digest it, and then narrate it back, that present moment when you saw it is already become a past moment. It is no more a present moment. And this amness is not a present moment, it is the presence, and that is the essence of the existential reality. And through that Adhyatma Yoga only, because that is what the scriptures have always said, that is what the Vedantins believe, is Jnanat evatu kaivalyam, knowing one's own self as this. Is the final culmination. But one has to prepare for that Adhyatma Yoga. Continuing in the 13th mantra, Ye tachrutva samparigrihya martyaha pravruhya dharmya manu metamapya pravruhya dharmya manu metamapya samodate modaniyam hi labdhva vivratam sadmanachiketa sammanye. So that which I just described in the 12th mantra, O Nachiketa, that dharma which is the most subtle one, anum etam apya, I think you already have understood it as to how subtle it is and how prepared you are. And he goes on to say that Nachiketa, that you are almost on the threshold of realizing it because of your preparedness. Those who reach to this state, they enjoy. In fact, the greatness of the Upanishad is, they say, this particular mantra says that what we think about joy and enjoyment is really not a joy or enjoyment. That state is truly enjoyable, because there is nothing to lose, nothing to share, nothing to be afraid of. There is no bhaya, there is no shoka, there is no limitation. And that can only be experienced. And Nachiketa, you are more than qualified to experience it. See, the reason I have been saying that these 8 mantras, past 8 mantras, are another form of test to Nachiketa. As Ramakrishna Paramahamsa would put it, he would call it Kakaratraya. 3 Ks. What are the 3 Ks? Kamini, Kanchana, Kirti. He says it very beautifully. He says, to win over the sensual pleasures and being enslaved to them, being enslaved to with money and glow and other things, is the Kanchana. But subtler than these two, the more powerful of them is Kirti. Name, fame, praise. We fall prey to that very easily. We can win ourselves out of Kamini and Kanchana easily. What becomes difficult is the Kirti. Why is Kirti that difficult? Because with that Kirti comes the accessibility of control over as many as that circle of fame that you have developed into. That power to hold that many in your grip is a rush, and it is an insatiable rush. It is very difficult to give up. That is why in the Puranas, when the king, after having established a beautiful kingdom, gives that kingdom up to his children or nominates somebody for the next in line, and where does he go? No paraphernalia, no guards, nobody else. With his wife and himself, leave for Vanaprastha into the mountains. And it is not that there is already a guest house or a penthouse created and then you go there and settle. No. There is no ashram or there is no old age home already created for them so that they quit here and go there and settle. They go there into that solitude where nobody else knows where they are, create that space for themselves and live accordingly. To give that up in Vanaprastha is a training to give that Kirti up. And Nachiketa, in the last 8 mantras, I personally feel was being tested by Dharmaraja, the last final layer. And to all these praises, what has Nachiketa to say? He has not said a single word. He has been patiently waiting for the answer. Now, what was his question? Astitye ke nayam astitye ke. They say that it is there, it is not there. You remember what we discussed yesterday, right? So, where is he going with all these things? Why isn't he starting still? Why isn't he answering me? And in the 14th mantra, Nachiketa opens. And whenever Nachiketa has an opportunity to speak, it is a spark of wonder to watch. So he says, Anyatra dharmat, anyatra adharmat. Anyatra asmat krita kritat. Anyatra bhutacha bhavyacha. yat tat pashyasi tatvada. He is a very astute seeker. No wonder why Yama was praising him so much again and again. But this amazing Nachiketa was the last one to be caught in the web of name and fame. He doesn't say thank you. When he is being praised, he says thank you. He doesn't even acknowledge it. But at the same time, he doesn't, negate or insult his guru. What does he say? He says, he reiterates his question and asks it so firmly, which shows that I am not carried away by these words of praise. He says, Anyatra dharmat, anyatra adharmat. That which is beyond being righteous or unrighteous. Dharma, adharma. Anyatra asmat krita akritat. That which is the right or wrong, not right. Krita is that which is right. Akrita, that which is not right. There is something which is beyond both krita and akrita. A final stroke of brilliance even in asking. See, when people ask questions and they are beating around the bush, narrating too many events, narrating too many things and not coming to the point, you can clearly understand that the person does not know what to ask. They are not clear about what they are confused, which is seen in lack of proper expression. The master stroke is in the next sentence. He says, Anyatra bhutacha bhavyacha. That which is beyond both cause and effect. Okay. And so far what you have been talking, that this scripture says so, or following the scriptures you attain so, or I have gone through scriptures. With my guru, I have gone through enough scriptures. Yat pashyasi tat eva vada. What you have experienced, that alone speak. I don't want to be hearing about that scripture, this Veda, that Veda, too many iterations, too many possibilities. I don't want that. What is your experience? Being in this threshold of life and death, that experience of that self, that which is illumining. People spend their entire lives between unrighteous and righteous. It's a very difficult path. In fact, there is one kriti wherein he says, one of the composers, he says that punya can never be broken and papa can never be stopped. It's a very vicious cycle that keeps enveloping you from all directions without giving you a choice to get out. So stop putting their entire life in the field of papa and punya. I've done enough papa, now let me do little punya. That is what we do, right? We go to Mahakumbha Mela. And they say once in 60 years, the opportunity. I was 21, 22 years old, and I said, I don't know, I will be there by 80 or 90, 82. Once in 60 years, so let me go have a dip. I come back to the place where we had rented to stay, suitcases, chappal, everything gone. Why? Somebody who just took a dip, cleared the past account and immediately started a new account. Because that Kumbh Mela also goes on for a month. So daily you can do things and then clean yourself up and start fresh. I have done something good, I have something bad, I have done something right, I have done something wrong. There is something which is beyond both good and bad, righteous or unrighteous. Good is encouraged, virtue is encouraged, dharma is encouraged, so that we quickly get out of the shackles of adharma, vices, or that which is unrighteous. But having gained our control out of adharma, let us not fall prey to the shackles of dharma also. As much as adharma is binding, dharma is equally binding. As much as bad is bad, good is equally bad. Am I confusing? As much as stain on a cloth is bad, to apply soap and not wash both of them off is having soap good or bad on your cloth? Stain is bad, you applied soap and you have not cleaned it. So having that soap on the stain on the cloth, is it good or bad? How can it be neither? As much as the stain is a stain, having a soap on the stain is also a stain. You finally, that is why we finally rinse both off, both the soap and the stain off. Because what we are trying to acquire is neither Vikriti nor Samskriti. Something which is beyond Vikriti and Samskriti is our essential stature of existence. And that is the master stroke, that is why I call it a master stroke, where it says Bhutachya Bhavyacha. With regards to this creation, there is a seed and you sow it, and with the appropriate conditionings, it will sprout as a sapling, grow into a bush, grow into a tree, give fruits, flowers, seeds. So to that seed, there was a cause earlier. So if we go that way, what was the first cause? The first cause is called the Creator, God. He created all this universe. So he is the first cause for this entire creation, which is the effect. Now his question is a master stroke, because he says there is something beyond even that God, the creator aspect, the Ishvara Tattva. Why? His existence comes into debate, meaning his existence can be challenged, because he is Ishvara only as long as he is related to the effect. As long as you see the effect, you can say there was a cause, and that is him. There are times in the creation wherein there is no creation. So even that creator aspect no longer exists. There is something beyond, something which is the substratum for even to that God as a creator to create. And he says, don't go again into the scriptural analysis. Don't go again into trying to tell that there are 2 paths or 3 paths in the scripture. You follow path A, you get this, path B, you get this, path C, you get this. They don't intersect. I have read all those things. I don't want to be bogged down with those details again. All that I am asking, what you are experiencing, what you can see as an experience of that state, that if you see it, state it. It's almost like Vivekananda with Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. He went to all these various spiritual leaders and asked, have you seen God? He said, no. And then he left. He asked many people. The first time when he approached Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and he looked at him, he was in his own world. Whenever he was available away from his world, he asked him, have you seen God? The first person to answer said, yes. How? As clearly as you can see me or I can see you. He did not say that this is what the scriptures say, this is what these various methods are, follow path A, path B, path C, they intersect, they don't intersect, the results are diagonally opposite, nothing. At my personal level, I have experienced it. How? As clearly as you can see me or I can see you, that is how clearly I can see God. Can you show it? That depends on how you want to see it. I may be ready to show it to you. Are you prepared to see it? He said, yes. I said, come tomorrow. Come early morning. I go to this Ganges for bath. It's a very famous story. So that Ramakrishna Paramahamsa went inside, took bath. He said, don't you want to come and take bath? Get purified in Ganges? So Vivekananda went inside. Narendra, not yet Vivekananda, went inside and took first dip, and Ramakrishna Paramahamsa sat on him inside. He was in the Ganges and Ramakrishna Paramahamsa sat on him, holding him down. And after a couple of moments, there must have been thoughts like, what is this madcap doing on me? I thought he was a madcap. I should have understood that he is a madcap. He is trying to kill me. Is this God? Is this showing God? No way. He pulled me, lured me into coming into Gangaji at 4 o'clock where nobody could see, and now I am caught under him, and no more can I take it. And whether he is an older man, a realized person, respectful, not respectful, he didn't care. He just threw him out and came out. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was prepared for this. So as Vivekananda got up, he said, when I caught you underwater, what was the intensity for you to get out of that water? He said, what intensity? You were. Put that question aside. First answer my question if you want to see God. What was the intensity that you felt to get out of that water? It was pretty intense. Do you feel that same intensity, if not more, to see God? If you have that intensity, come with me, I'll show. I'll show you the method and you will find her. So similarly, direct question. Nachiketa says, that scripture said this Veda said that, there is Vidya, there is Avidya, there is Shraddha, there is that. I have heard, I have gone through enough scriptures, I have contemplated enough. And my contemplation has revealed this, that beyond virtue and vice, there is something subtle. Beyond that which is Papa and Punya, there is something divine. Beyond the cause and effect, there is a primordial entity which does not get bogged down by either the cause or the effect. Do you know that? Have you the experience of that? If you do, tell me about that. What a, and even to have that clarity in questioning. So looking at him, he starts the Upanishad, which is tomorrow. Until here, what has happened is the introduction into the character of being the seeker of the truth, which is being Nachiketa. The one thing that we need to understand, do we have that preparation? Do we have that readiness? Do we have that texture which Nachiketa displayed? If we do, then the rest of the Upanishad will be revealed unto us. So what is that Upanishad? We will see tomorrow. So far it was just the introduction. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.